Okay, guys, I think we... All right. Okay, how's that? Okay, hello all. I think we are in action. So, can you hear me now? Is it all clear? Oh, that's good. That's good. I don't know what happened there, guys. Honestly, I've been testing this out for last night. Just ask Stephen how many times we did live feeds back and forwards. And it worked perfectly, but for some reason, just had a waterfall sound in the background. Maybe it's something behind me. So I hope you like the graphics. Oh, no, that's good. Sounds better than before. Excellent. And that's good. So it's not overpowering. I can turn the mic down. Unfortunately, this mic and this camera I'm using here would probably be 15, 20 years old. I need to update it one day. So I am broadcasting in better, higher quality than what you'll never normally get with through YouTube, as live chats, live broadcasts through YouTube is limited to 720p. By going through this software that I'm using now, I can actually go 1020p, so it should increase the quality. But the camera is very old, so but the graphics should look nice and clear, I hope. The mic is soft. Okay, let me turn the mic up. All right, is that better? As long as there's no, how's that? And mic feedback. I can actually hear the mic feedback through here myself. I can actually hear it. Okay. Is that any better? Alright, let me try 1, 2. There is mic feedback, isn't it? I've turned the sound up, but I think there might be a bit of... It's very bizarre. This is playing up like this. Is it good enough to go ahead, or should I just jump over to YouTube? I mean, if I use this platform, I've got some graphics I can bring up. I can bring up some images, etc. Like I did here before, such as some of the photos I've captured. Have a look at this one. That's a photo I captured when I was camping down at a place called Damn Crazy. I took that at night. Just after Stephen and Annie went to sleep. Their camp is right behind my 4 drive. So that's at night time. Excellent. Did you say I won? Yes, I know some of you, us yous will be here for the draw. So, teamed up with Kickass, Australian Direct, and to commemorate coming on to 2,000 subscribers now, so any moment I'll hit 2,000 subscribers. We have teamed up and we're doing a giveaway. So it's the first giveaway, and what an awesome giveaway it is. What an awesome prize to have up as a giveaway. So someone out there, hopefully maybe it was one of you guys that are watching, is going to win this solar panel here. This 200 watt super thin solar panel valued at $479, guys. And let me tell you, these panels are awesome. As some of you probably know, international followers, I'm not too sure, but I have an inkling that it might be open to international followers as well. I can check and let you know, but I'll let you know how this is going to work. So, as you know, I've got one of these panels, but it's a 300 watt solar panel. The reason I went for the 300 watt solar panel, if you had a look at some of my videos recently, you would notice what sort of setup I've got in my little Pajero. Well, I won't exactly say little. I mean, I used to own a Vitara. That was small. And thank God now I've got a Pajero, because I would never be able to do anything like this in that Vitara I used to have. Mind you, probably the 4-drive I owned before that, the 4-drive I owned before the Vitara, well actually it was a Toyota Blizzard. I don't know if any of you's ever heard of a Toyota Blizzard. That'll shock you. I actually owned one of them. It had a Toyota Hilux diesel motor in it, about 2.8, 2.5 litres or something, 4-cylinder diesel. It was very short and very top heavy, and I can't tell you how many times that thing nearly tipped over. I had times where it almost flipped back over forward. It was just crazy. I actually owned that for a while, and basically what it is, it's a Daihatsu 4-drive base. I cannot remember what it is, but it was a Daihatsu. And then Toyota bought them out, and then they whacked one of their Hilux diesels in it and called it a Toyota Blizzard. So I'm really curious to know if any of you guys have ever heard of the Toyota Blizzard. And you know, I don't think I've actually got a photo of it. I used to get some... I'll have to dig around one day and see if I can find some photos of that. And now I've got the Pajero, and thank goodness I got the Pajero, because it's got a lot more room in there, so I can put all these U-Butte gear in it. And as you know, I've got the 300 watt solar panel. Now, I've been testing it out vigorously for quite some time. In fact, when I say quite some time, I actually only got it last Friday, so tomorrow will be only a week that I've owned the old Daihatsus. Yeah, had a Jimny. Oh my God, can I talk about, you know, I almost going to buy a Jimny, one of those Jimnys, before I bought the Pajero. Thank God I came to me senses. Could you imagine me in a little Jimny? How would I do it? I mean, I wouldn't be able to have a rooftop tent, nothing like that. I mean, it would have ruined it for me. I don't think I would have had that vehicle for very long at all. So, yeah, but the old Toyota Blizzards, Pajero Meals on Wheels, oh, mine is. You know, guys, well, you've seen, obviously most of you have probably watched the videos of late, and you've seen what sort of setup I've got there. It's got the air fryer oven, what's it called? Taste the Difference Air Roaster Pro. It's got an induction cooktop in it. And have you seen my latest addition there? The coffee machine. It's a beauty. And you couldn't fit the coffee machine. Actually, I did. I've got the coffee machine. It's in the vehicle. And I've been having lots of coffees out of that. And it's so quick. I've been cooking out the vehicle. Even tonight, I cooked up a roast meal, some chicken. And I made a pumpkin soup. All from the vehicle there. So just testing it out, guys. Just putting it all to the test. And the 300 watt solar panel has been working really good. And it's been putting in up to 20 amps. It's been putting in 20 amps at peak time. And I reckon that's pretty good for something that's as lightweight as it is. And for the price as well. I mean, fair enough, they're not the cheapest. They're by far not the most expensive as well. So for what you pay for them, they perform really good. And they got A-grade monocrystalline, I think that's how you pronounce it, panels as well. And what I like about them, they've also got the Japanese ETFE, which is it's on my Safari panels. So you would have seen my Safari panels, how well they perform. This one is actually performing better than the Safari. Well, pretty close, but I think slightly better. But then, hence, keep in mind, the Safari solar blanket I've got is a 250 watt panel. This one here is a 300 watt panel. Okay, The Safari weighs about 8 kilos. This one does weigh about 13 kilos. So that's the main difference there. But I don't mind the extra weight because it stops the thing from blowing away as much as what that Safari did. I kid you not. If there's any wind around, you got to peg it down. I think it's because he actually got peg points where you can peg it down. I'd imagine this one would probably be the same. The other day when I was doing the video, you would have noticed a bit of wind coming up on the 300 watt, and you would have seen I had to really hang on so the thing wouldn't blow away. We never used to have those problems in the past. Even as far as up to 3, 4, 5 years ago, because it was basically mostly glass panels and things that weighing 20 kilo plus. Now those things, you could put them out in the storm and nothing would blow them away. And I still got that glass panel, and it's a kick-ass as well. So I've owned and been using kick-ass panels for the past 5 years now, and I can vouch on them. I think they're really good, and I'm really impressed with these super thin solar panels. Now, to be honest guys, in the past probably 3 years I've been predominantly using the high voltage solar panels because of how efficient they are. I just found that the 12 volt panels weren't as efficient, but these panels have changed my mind guys. As I mentioned, that Safari solar panels, okay, the high voltage, I get probably around 16, 17 amps with them, 250 watts, and they're quite expensive guys. They're over $1,000. Okay, this 300 watt panel here, it's well under $1,000, and if you wait till they go on sale, you'll even get a better deal, and quite often they do go on sale. Kick-Ass do have some awesome sales come up every so often. So it's a good idea to look out for the sales, but even without the sales, the values there, I think they're very good, and they come with the 3-year guarantee as well. My Safari panel comes with a 2-year guarantee. And in fact, my Safari panels are out of action at the moment. Just out of the blue, they stopped working. I'm in the process of going through warranty with them now, and they're almost out of warranty. They'll be out of warranty in, I think, November. And so just before the warranty, they pretty well, that's it, just stopped out of the blue. So I'm going to have to send them back, and hopefully they'll replace that. So guys, we're here to talk about this giveaway and how it's going to work. But that's not the only reason we're here as well. This is a bit of a blog chat as well, so we'll have question time if anyone wants to ask any questions and so on. So, how this works. You'll see there's a link here. You see that link? Now I'm going to, if I just, hang on, I should be able to paste that link in here. Okay, I'll just paste that URL in here. Let me click on that, make sure that's the correct one. Yes, it is. Okay. So how it works, as of midnight tonight, the giveaway, the entries is available, is going to be open for 10 days. So basically all you do is click on that link, fill in your name, I think it's your name, phone number, and maybe email address or something like that. And in 10 days time, which I believe is not this Sunday, the following Sunday, some stage after that, out of random, one lucky winner is going to be selected. So as soon as I find out who that winner is, I'll post a video, congratulate them, and then someone from Kick-Ass will ring them up and organise the freight to send them the product. So that's how it's going to work, guys. So basically, it's open to everyone. Everyone has got that link. Whether you're subscribed to my channel or not, it doesn't matter. So you don't have to be subscribed to my channel. You don't have to subscribe to my Instagram page. you don't have to be subscribed to my Facebook page. So by the way guys, as of about a week or two ago, I've now got a Facebook page. Just on this, it's the same, under the same name as my YouTube channel. Phil's 4x4 touring equipment. I remembered at that time, Steve. I didn't forget. So I was getting, yeah, here we go. Keith is saying I was getting 13.6 amps at 11 yesterday. Yes. I was out at Keith's place yesterday, home, and we're doing a lot of tests. So I had my 300 watt solar panel out, and Keith had his 200 watt solar panel out as well. And we were comparing them, seeing how much difference. I've seen anywhere between, what was it, Keith? Between 3 amps. My panels is getting between 3 amps and probably up to 6 amps more. Majority of the time it seemed to be around the 3-4 amps. It was getting more than what the 200 watt panel was putting in. So it all depends on the lead you're using. So when we did the test, we tried with the same lead, and I plugged it into my Victron MPPT solar regulator, the 100-50. Because via that, if you have a look at my channel, you'll see my system is quite, what can I say? It's very technical in some ways. And in saying that, I've got a device there called a Turbo GX from Victron. And it's like a computerized thing. But what it does is it records all the information from everything that's in my system, and it uploads it to a portal. So, and in that portal, and actually guys, while I'm using this, let's have a go. I should be able to. I'm going to try something here. Okay. Wait a minute, forgot how to do it. Okay, I'm just going to put a link up here, and I'm going to show you a live footage, the live footage of my portal here. So just bear with me. Web page. I tried this yesterday. Okay, I'm just going to create the new web page now. Does anyone have any questions about anything? I mean, you guys are welcome to ask any questions about my system, what you think about it, and meanwhile, and I'll go back and see if there's any questions. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this link. And let's see how this works, shall we? Oh, okay, it's asking for username and password. Oh, that's a shame. Alright. Well, unfortunately, there's no way I can add a username and password in it. Well, that's a shame, so that's not going to work, so we'll give that a miss. Not to worry. Okay, so that's how it's going to work, guys. So the giveaway is going to last for 10 days. It starts tonight. So if you click on that link, if you missed out on that link, now that link I'm going to share. Oops, hang on, wrong one. That's the actual link to my portal. Alright, let me go back and grab that link. So basically, Kick-Ass is going to, through their system, they're going to select a random winner. And I think what's going to happen then, once they get a winner, then they're going to let me know, and I'll announce it on my channel. And then soon after I've announced it on my channel, someone from Kick-Ass will then phone you and arrange the arrange to get it sent to you, uh, that's when I'll ask your address. So this time, I think all you need is just your name, your phone number, and I think it might be your email address as well. I can hear there's a little bit of echo there. Is this all right? Is this working fine? Hopefully there's no major echoes there. Okay, four-wheeling in New South Wales. Hi, how you going? Loving your work, thank you. Grant, is it? How many more coffee machines can you use? This is the first coffee machine. All the others, I don't know if you call them coffee machines, they're all manual. That that Belmont there, you could kind of call it a coffee machine. Oh, I'm hearing lots of echo, background echo. Can you guys hear that? I don't know where that's coming from. Hang on. Let me move back from the mic a bit. There we go. Let me turn the gain down a tad. Alright. Let me know if that's any better. Stream is great. The dinner's being served. Alright, so let's have a look and see any questions here. 200-watt kick-house puts out 11 amps at 7:30 a.m. How awesome is that? That's from FJ Camping and Touring. Ah, here we go. Someone who knows what a blizzard is. My brother had a blizzard here in Bunbury for a while. He loved it. Tell you what. Awesome vehicle. Terrible to travel on the highway because it's so top heavy, and that's with nothing in it. That's just nothing on the top. You couldn't put a roof rack or anything on it. It's just, I mean, yeah, it was a fun vehicle to drive around, but when it comes to full driving, not very good. Fraser Island, it did okay. It was really good on the sand because of how small and lightweight it is, and it's got a Toyota Hilux diesel in it, so it went quite well. Can you charge a lithium battery with the standard regulator on the panels? Standard regulator on the panels. I probably not, apart from the iTech World 120X. I believe the way they got their BMS set up is that you can use most solar panels to charge them. So, because you're referring to that PWM regulator that comes with the kick-ass solar panels. I'm going to be honest, I'm not a great fan of PWM regulators. Even with just 12 volt systems. For example, my Victron MPPT solar regulator. So these panels are around 19-20 volts. Okay, so what they put in is 19-20 volts. Then your regulator drops that down to whatever it needs to, whether it's 13.6, 12.8, 14.6, depends whatever charge rate it's at. It drops it down so those 20 volts don't go into your battery and cause major problems. I'm getting feedback here, so guys, let me know if this feedback is annoying you too much. So it's repeating what I'm saying after I'm talking here. So even with the 12 volts solar panel system, I notice a difference, and I notice quite a big difference. And how I can tell is because that system I've got in my vehicle with that Servo GX, it tells me all the information, everything, and I mean everything. It's got all the information there. And in fact, go back, if you're interested in it, go back to one of my videos a month or so ago. I did a video on the Victron portal. Have a look in there, it'll give you an idea on the information I can get. So I can remotely connect to my system. So as long as it is in a 4G, 3G coverage area and I'm within a, broadband anywhere internet access, I can remotely connect to the 12 volt system, 240 volt system of my vehicle anywhere, and I can actually turn individual items on and off remotely as well. So in there it tells me when I'm, for example, the 300 watt kick-ass solar panel that I'm using, it's putting 20 amps, 20 volts, 18, 20 volts in depending time of day and so on. And it's going through the regulator. It's probably putting in around 13, 14 amps. So that MPPT regulator, and basically what it does then is those extra volts, even though there's not many, there's only about extra 7, 8, 6, 7, 8 volts or whatever, okay, than a 12 volt system. Even those 6, 7, 8 volts, those extra volts, it converts them to amps. So instead of my battery charging at only 13, 14 amps, it's charging up to 16 to 20 amps. Now where it makes a big difference is if you're using high voltage solar panels. Because you could get a high voltage solar panel, let's say example a household solar panel that I used to use on top of my vehicle before I got a before I got a rooftop tent on it. I used to use for about 2 years, I used to use a second-hand household solar panel, a Trina. It's a 200 watt solar panel, glass panel. It weighed about 20 kilos. It's about 35 volts, thereabouts. Thank goodness that echoing is gone. It's been a bit hard to, I know, bad echo. Yes, I know. You should try talking when it's repeating. The echo's gone now. I can't hear it, guys. So hopefully, give it about 30 seconds. It should be gone shortly. So, where was I up to? Those solar panels. So they're putting about 35, 45 volts. I think the one I had was about 38. 38, on average it was to put in 38, 35 volts in. But it's only classed at about 4.5, 5 amps. But those 4.5, 5 amps, because there's so many volts there, a quality MPPT solar regulator like your Victrons will convert those extra volts into amps. So that solar panel, even though it's rated at 5 amps, you read the thing on the back, it's 5 amps, so you're probably thinking, you're looking at it, oh yeah, it's a household panel, it's rated 5 amps, it's only going to put in 5 amps in the system. Now in theory, if you're using a PWM, yes, it will only put the 5 amps. But you probably don't know if you're going to find a PWM that will run that, because you need MPPT solar regulators that can handle the high voltage. My Victron can handle up to 100 volts, and it can input up to 50 amps into the system. And I purchased that 5 years ago, guys, so I've been using that for the last 5 years, and I've never ever had a problem. And in fact, today I was going through, as I mentioned, that system I'm using, the Serbo GX, gives me all the information. It got all the information from that MPPT, and in those 5 years, that thing has produced about, what was it? I think it was about 78, 78, was it 7,800 or 78,000 kilowatts, something. I can't remember now. I'd have to check. Oh, my battery is at 95.7% at the moment, yes. The reason FJ Camping and Touring knows that, because I sent him a link to the portal. So he can go on his phone at any time and check to see what my battery is doing. It'll even tell him if I'm running a generator. It'll tell him if I'm running a solar panel. Not only that, it'll tell him what the solar panel is producing, how many amps it's producing, how many amps it's going into the battery, that MPPT is converting over and putting into the battery. It'll tell the voltage of everything. If I use my Multi Plus, which is a unit, again from Victron, is a unit that includes an AC charger and a, inverter built into one. He'll be able to go on there and see I've got the feedback starting again, so I'm going to try to concentrate hard and try to ignore this feedback. Obviously this is the first and last time I'm going to use this program for. Let me go to a different screen here, see if that's any better. Not that I don't know if it'll make any difference, but we'll see how it goes. I know echoes. I know it's terrible, isn't it? So let me check, guys. Let me see. Let me just try around something here and see if I can get rid of this echo. 1 2 1 2. All right, where's the echo? Must have another mic connected. 1 2 1 2. It's probably. Okay. I'm just going to go through and close everything. The echo's gotten worse, hasn't it, guys? This is so annoying, this echo. It's gotten worse. Okay. That's better. That's better. Oh, no. Alright. I turned the mic off and turned it back on. That seemed to have made a bit of a difference. Yes, I did that. Auto. Good advice. I actually done that. I turned the mic off and I turned it back on. And it seems to have improved it now. I'm not getting any echo at all now. There's a little bit there. But it's... I shouldn't drink a live text. What did you send me something? Missed call. Something gone wrong, we can't hear you. That's 40 minutes ago. It should be working now. So, everyone understand how this competition, this giveaway works? If there's any confusion, let me know. Otherwise, yeah, kick ass, yeah. So, anyone's got any questions about my system? Is there anything you want to know about any of the products? The Serbo GX, the Victron Multi Plus, the MPPT controller. I've even got a, a Red Arc BCDC 1225D that I'm using, which I purchased 5 years ago, and I've never ever had a problem with it whatsoever. It's been awesome. What else have I got? I've got the Egon DC hub that you guys who follow Andrew St. Pierre White. And actually, who watched Andrew St. Pierre White's latest video to see how exciting it is to see he's actually going to a route very similar to how my vehicle is. So, but I'm taking it one step more than what he has. You would have noticed during the video where he was talking about he was concerned about the weight. To me it looks like he's picked a His Victor Multi Plus did his weighs about 20 kilos. I bought another one that weighs 13 kilos. Well, it's just under 13 kilos. It's not as high capacity as the one he's chosen. They're around about the same price, but the one he's chosen is like weighs 20 kilos, and it's a 3000 VA compared to mine is a 2000 VA. Now, if you're running a shed at home or whatever, and you want to use high powered items, I think the 3000 or the 5000 would be ideal. But I don't know about running a 3000 in a 4-drive. I don't think you need to run a 3000. Because guys, I'm running a 240 volt oven, air fryer oven in that system, and it's working flawlessly, no problems at all. So if you look around, hang on, let me turn the mic off and turn it back. Alright, it didn't work that time. 1, 2, 1, 2. Is that better? There we go. That worked. Okay. Right, I think we got, okay. He's learnt from his last build, yeah. I'm really excited on what Andrew St. Pierre White is doing to his vehicle. Someone's mentioned he's using a 600 amp hour battery bank. So guys, even though I'm running induction cooktop, I'm running that coffee machine, and I'm running a air roaster, a 13 litre air roaster oven. I'm still only using one lithium battery, and it's a 120, well, it's classed as 120X. It's an iTech World 120X. No worries, Keith. I'll talk to you tomorrow sometime, mate. Cool. So it's a 120X. That's all I'm using, guys. That's all I'm using. And I'm finding it more than enough for my system. So Andrew was talking about he was worried about the extra weights. Oh guys, this is this this mic is gone crazy. Properties. Okay, let me just check. 1, 2. Is that better? I just changed the input for the mic. Alright, I think that's worked, guys. In saying that, it's just starting to, yeah. Have you seen anyone run a twin induction cooktop while camping? Just thinking about as versus electric, and quite often as cooktops are twin setups. I know Safari makes a twin induction cooktop, but how they did it is if you, I still got the feedback now, if you run both at the same time, each one is reduced. So if you're going to run an induction, well actually I was going to say if you run an induction and a 240 volt oven at the same time, that's when you probably need to start looking into really big battery banks. But not necessarily. I've actually have run the induction cooktop and the 240 volt oven at the same time on my system because of the features called assistant in the Victron Multi Plus AC charger inverters built into the one. They've got some really unique features, guys, and it allows you, depending what sort of input you've got, whether you're running shore power, if you're running a generator, if you're running mega solar panel setup, etc. My camera is playing up. I think my camera is just a bit old, guys. If I move my camera, hello. Let me move my camera and see if that makes a difference with the mic. All right, still got the. Yeah, he was worried about recharging the second day. This is battery capacity anxiety. Yeah, he was. I was surprised at some of the figures he was announcing there when they were cooking. They must have a very power hungry induction cooktop. Because the induction cooktop I purchased, I actually there's a store here in Bundaberg, a camping store, Bundy Outdoors, FJ Camping and Touring. He knows all about it. He loves that store. Every time he comes to Bundy, where I live, he goes and checks out that store. Oh, my hands this is weird. My hands has gone real funny. Actually, let's go to this screen. Seeing we're talking about the 12 volt, 240 volt setup, this is pretty close to the system I've got here now, although I have added a couple of other devices on here since I've drew the schematic up. And what they are is a external HD monitor screen. So I can control everything through that, virtually almost everything through that. And you can see it's all based on that Egon DC hub. Except for the 240 volt system, the high powered systems like this multi plus you see here, the big blue item beside the battery. That's connected directly to the battery itself, although the negative does go through the shunt. And the positive goes right through to the positive of the battery with its own fuse you can see there. And then you can see, so I've only got two positive leads that's running from that battery. Three actually, if you include the one for the monitor, that actually monitors the battery. So it goes to that, and that goes through to the Egon hub, and then everything else, all the 12 volt componentries, is all connected through the Egon hub. Everything goes through there, including the MPPT solar regulators, including the BCDC charger, including the fridge, including my 4G dongle there that you see, so it picks up signal so it uploads to the portal when I'm traveling, including the Servo GX, all powered through the Egon DC hub, including my ARB twin compressor. It also powered all through that as well. So you can see how that works. So everything's going through there. It's got all these little LED lights on here, so if a fuse blows, one of those lights will come on. And if you've got an issue anywhere, all you got to do is poke your head in, have a look. Oh yeah, there's a red light there. Pull the fuse out, pull it back in, away you go. Very easy fault finding, and it's simplified my setup a real lot. They're not cheap, the Egon DC hub, but they are manufactured here in Australia, I believe, using quality German components. So put a cloth over the mic. Mate, that's not a bad idea. Hang on, let me go grab one. I'm going to go grab a cloth and give that a go. Okay. Oh, I'm not sure where the mic is on this thing. Yeah. Is that any better? Mate, that made it worse. Oh boy. Okay. Let me turn this mic off. Turn it back on. It's still... Let me try that. Phil held at the MCG. Is that what it sounds like at the MCG? I've never been there. It's bizarre. What if I... Hang on. Let me try changing this angle. Is that any better? No, doesn't make any difference. Okay. Bizarre, eh? I know, you tell me, guys, do you... This mic's getting worse. I don't know if it's the actual software program I'm using because of the delay. Actually, I wonder if it's because of a delay. Hang on, let me refresh something. 1, 2. Still the same. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. That's... How's that? Hang on, guys. Is that better? Okay, can you still... Okay, is that better now? So there's about a 30-second delay. So I've just changed something, a setting on the mic. And I'm just wondering if that's made any difference. So can you still hear me? You can hear me. No echo. Oh, good. Thank goodness. So I'm not hearing any feedback right now. So that's brilliant. Excellent. Oh, that's good. All right. Excellent. So it's a setting here, something to do with a RN noise, and another switch up here, turn on monitoring. So there's a button here called monitoring, and it was turned on, so I don't know what that means. I actually turned it off, and now... Oh, excellent. Well, that's good. Good stuff. All right, guys, so anyone's got any questions, anything about my setup? Let me go back to the, see if it's, hey mate, how's your Generator 3 Pajero has been maintenance reliability wise? 01 NM Pajero, I'll be looking at getting the lifters and valve stem seals replaced. My lifter's already noisy. I've owned my Generation 3 NP Pajero now for probably 3.5 years now. And that thing is reliable. It's as reliable as a new vehicle. The only things I ever had to do with it is, so far maintenance wise, when I purchased it, I went through the whole thing and changed every oil and gave it a service. I mostly do all the mechanical work and servicing myself. Being brought up on a farm, we learned how to do that. And to be honest, guys, I haven't found a mechanic that I trust where I live. So I've learnt to do all the maintenance myself, particularly when I had the Range Rover. I used to own an old 1977 Range Rover. I did everything on that because it's such a simple vehicle to work on. Yet, if you take it to a mechanic uptown, okay, a lot of these mechanics nowadays take the computer away and they sit there scratching their heads. So, I don't know what it is. They only seem to learn how to tune the car through a computer. Take away the computer, they don't know anything. Well, you can't do stuff all with the computer with an old vehicle like a 1977 Range Rover. It's going back to old technology. This thing had twin Stromberg carbies on it. And boy, did that thing used to confuse the heck out of mechanics. I tell you now, I'll bet you probably won't find too many mechanics around that will know how to tune those things up. And yes, they were a pain to tune up, but once you know how to tune them up, they're quite easy and they're quite reliable, actually, very reliable. But you got things like float levels. I mean, even the float, you got to adjust the correct height of the floats, the needles. There's so many adjusting. And the best way to do it, guys, is to walk around the back, stick your ear near the muffler, turn the engine on and listen to see how it purrs. It's a sweet sounding V8, those Range Rovers. Have a listen to Andrew St. Pierre White video when he was driving it from Melbourne to Perth, and have a listen when he's driving on the highway or when he's going through the gear, the sweet sounding nice purring V8 noise that's coming out of that V8. And guys, in real life it sounds 100 times better than what you can hear in his video. Man, those things, I had mates that when I used to rock up or I leave, they said it sounded like a V8, a hotted up V8 about to go in a V8 car race. They just, once you tune them properly, they're just magic, guys. And when I bought that thing, I owned that for so many years. When I bought it, I used to take it to mechanics uptown. I used to come back, it was so much worse. No one knew how to adjust the Stromberg carbies. In fact, I took it to, the first time I bought it, I took it in somewhere, I won't say where it is, to get it serviced, but a well-known, even to this day, well-known service provider with franchises all over Australia, just about every country town, every city, probably 6 or 7 at least in each city. When I got that thing back, the poor fellow who was following behind me was covered in diesel gunk. It was literally covered in, it was that rich, it was covered in gunk. And this was after service. So I had to pull the thing apart, and when I pulled it apart, I found out they practically, what they did, guys, they charged me a pure fortune for this. It needed new seals and so on, okay, gaskets, because there was some leaks on it. And actually the leaks started again after a couple of days. So I had to pull it apart to see what was going on, because the thing was drinking fuel. I mean, the V8s and those Range Rovers, they go like through fuel like you wouldn't believe. You can actually sit there and see the needle going down, 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 down. They're a fuel guzzler. But guys, when I owned it, fuel was only about 55 cents, 65, 70 cents a litre when I bought it. But when I sold it, fuel was up well over $1.50 and so, and that's when I sold it. Being a V8, the rego was so expensive, and being that it's so bad on the fuel economy, it was costing a fortune to drive the thing around. I regret I sold it. I should have kept it and parked it in the garage and left it there, because that thing now would be worth a fortune. They have so much value now in original condition, and I kept it original. Everything was original on that, even down to the points. I even had the original points in it. A lot of people put the change into automatic, what do you call them, an auto distributor or something. I still had the old distributor. So I used to travel, I went travel everywhere with that thing, and I found it reliable. I had to tune it depending how far I drove, at least once a week I had to tune it. But I had all the gear myself, and I used to carry it in the car, and I used to be able to pull over, and I used to tune it. So I was lucky actually, because I had an old guy that lived next door, and I had parked out the front one day, and it was running pretty gutless, and this was just after it was tuned up. So this guy came out and said, "Oh, your V8's sounding pretty sick, eh?" I said, "Yeah, I know, it's just out of tune up too." And he looked at it and he says, "I think the timing is out." And I said, oh, wow, they went to the book and they set it to the right timing, to what it says in the book. He said, don't believe that stuff. He said, come around the back, have a listen to the engine, hear that? Yeah. He went and grabbed this timing light, he whacked it on there, and he adjusted it a little bit, and the thing just sweet as. So because of the different fuel and so on, all to do with the different petrol, the climate and so on, like if it's colder, I had to change the timing to something different. Different types of fuel, I had to change it. So you're pretty much always tuning this thing. On average, I used to have to do that probably at least once a week. I had to tune it up. So this old guy taught me how to do this. And in fact, he had a really good mate of his. And he says, I'm going to call a good mate of mine. And he got on the phone and he rang him up. And I got on the phone. He says, hello, this is Dick Johnson. I kid you not. When he was famous, racing around the circuit, old Dickie Johnson rang me up. Dick Johnson used to have a, gee guys, I hope you was all still there. Dick Johnson used to drive around when he first started racing, when he first started racing his cars on the circuits. He used to drive around in a Range Rover, same as mine, and towed his racing car behind the Range Rover, because he didn't have any money back then. So he didn't have the full teams, he didn't have any of that when he started racing. And he used to drive around and tow his racing vehicle in this trailer at the back around all over Australia in a Range Rover. He used to drive a Range Rover to do it in the early days when he started, before he started getting famous and sponsors and all that. And he told me some of the things to do, what to look out for, how to tune it and so on. And this old bloke that used to live next door, back in the 70s and early 80s, he was a mechanic for a Formula One racing team. I kid you not. He was a mechanic for Formula One racing team. I cannot remember the team now. So he used to tune the cars, rebuild the motors, back in the early 70s of the Formula One racing cars. That's why this guy was able to come around to my Range Rover, just listen to tune, the note that thing was purring along, and he says, this thing needs to be advanced this way or back that way and that way, and he got it set up and he taught me how to tune that up. And he lived next door to us here, still in the same house where I am now. He lived next door to us for probably about 15 years, but unfortunately he passed away from cancer. He was a lovely old bloke. He used to still drive around this old F200 or F250 or something like that. F200, used to tune it all himself. And he taught me how to tune these old classic cars with these V8s and so on. Because he used to do them up in his shed and I used to go around and help him out in that. So, yeah, it was awesome. Four-wheeling in New South Wales. My question is, how is that huge big kick-ass 75 litre fridge treating you, mate? Mate, that thing just goes on and on and on. I can't tell you. That thing surprised me. You know, I won that fridge in the competition that Buck did when he did the drifter event up in Lake Tinaroo. So when was that? 2.5 years ago or so now? Close to 2.5 years ago. And I won it there. And it's been pretty much running non-stop since when I went and picked it up. I hardly ever turn it off. It stays on all the time with my vehicle. It uses bugger all power. The thing is so economical. It runs so efficient. And I always use the freezer and the fridge. The left drawer, always run it as a freezer at -15, sometimes -16. The right drawer, I run it as a fridge. And I've got it set at the moment. I get set at 4 degrees Celsius. 3 or 4 I've got it set at. And that's pretty much how it's been set since the day I got it. Never changed it. It's been on for 2.5 years. Never had a problem. Runs very efficiently. The thing runs so efficiently that, in fact, actually, when I met Clayton. I met Clayton a couple of times now. I've spoken to him. And the second time I saw him, I asked him, because they keep raving on, you know, the thick insulation on those 75 litre fridges, how thick the insulation are, how they're built for Australian, you know, conditions and so on. Hence, a lot of other brands such as the Angles, have you seen how thin they are? They're not really built, I mean they're a great fridge, but they're not really built for the Australian conditions. Hence, you got to run a fridge bag or something, whatever they call them, those fridge bags. And they don't come with them, because I know I've got an Angle, guys. I got a 45 litre Angle, and it's a combi. And I used to use that before I won the 75 litre fridge. And that 45 litre Angle, again, same, always ran it in the combi mode. Always had it as a freezer, always had it as a fridge. Unfortunately, I don't like the way the system the Angle uses for the fridge freezers. I think the Angles are good to either use them one or the other. You either use it as a fridge or you either use it as a freezer. I don't like the combis because they struggle in the climate where I live. They struggle as a freezer. And because I think the insulation is so thin on them, I once tried it during summer without the bag, and the thing was using that much power that I could not get through a day without having to charge the battery up. I put the fridge bag back on it and it made a huge difference. Like, it was practically running full stop. It wouldn't cycle, it was running full stop. Couple of times I got caught in 40 degrees Celsius weather. I had ice blocks and so on in the freezer compartment that melted. I had meat that thawed out. It could not handle. This Kicker 75 litre fridge, I've had it in also 40 degree weather. It performed faultlessly. And getting back to the second time I saw Clayton from Australian Direct, so he's the proprietor, the owner, manager, Australian Direct. For those that don't know who Clayton is, most of you probably know now. Good singer, real larrikin, he's a real funny bloke too. And I asked him, I said, why are you including a fridge bag with these if they don't need one? And he says, oh, I only just put it in there because a lot of people like to protect the fridge, you know, if they're in the back of the 4-drive, you know, it keeps it cleaner, it keeps the muck and that off it. So that's basically the only reason he's included them. And he says it doesn't need it, it doesn't need it. And up until that moment, I had owned a fridge for about a year then. So I thought, okay, well that's interesting, alright. So I'm going to, when I go back home, I'm going to remove the bag and I'm going to run some tests to see if that's true, whether it needs a bag or not. So for 1 year, I only just recently put the bag back on now, and the only reason I did it is because I'm sick and tired of just looking at a white, stark, naked fridge. I wanted to break up the colour somewhere, so I thought this bag looks really nice, I'm going to whack this bag back on. And I tell you what, he was spot on, eh? I found it didn't make any difference to the consumption of the fridge. It didn't struggle whatsoever. So it doesn't need it. It really doesn't need it. In some cases, I think the fridge bags actually hinders the fridge more so than helps it. But in the case with this Angle combi that I got, it needed that fridge bag, guys, because those hot summer days we get here, that fridge just cranks and runs almost 24 hours and doesn't cycle. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. In fact, I'm in the process of filming a 2-year review on the fridge with some quite, now I've got all this technology in the vehicle. It actually monitors the fridge, the consumption of the fridge, when it cycles, when it doesn't cycle off, and so on. I wish I had this set up through the summer so I could get data. I would like to include the summer data on the difference on the consumption of the fridge, how long it cycles on and off at different temperatures during summer and during winter, spring, summer, and so on. So I'm running these kind of tests at the moment, but all this gear, I've only had it for like the past 2 or 3 months, so I've kind of got data for the past 2 or 3 months. I can go back to any day, as far since I've added all this gear, and look at certain times of the day what my fridge was consuming, how long it was running at any point during the day, over a 24-hour period, overnight, during the day or whatever, how long it was running before, how long it stopped, and how long it ran before it cycled again, and how much power it actually consumed while it's running. So that's the kind of details that I'm getting through this portal thing that I've got it set up in my vehicle. All Victron stuff, guys, all Victron. I haven't seen you running around the Gold Coast lately with that big Bundatech living room on your Pajero roof. Yeah, Overland Turtle. I was down the Gold Coast the last time, what was it, about 2-3 months ago, I think. I've been steering away from you guys down south, guys. You got too much of that COVID hanging around there. Every so often it pops up. So I've not been going down to Gold Coast for a while, and I don't know if I will go back for a little while yet. I'm going to wait and see what happens, especially when that border opens up. I'll say when that border opens up, we're probably going to be in the same boat here. We're pretty much all clear where I live, because it's kind of like a little country town. At least over half an hour drive from the highway, from the main highway. But in saying that, there's a lot of people here. There's a lot of people. It's amazing how many people are going around. You go to the caravan parks, they are packed. All the caravan parks are packed everywhere. There's caravans just everywhere. It's amazing how many people. And I was just watching on the news before, house prices have gone up by 22% in the Wide Bay area where I live. 22%, because a lot of you southerners are all moving up here. But hey, I tell you what, it's a nice place to live though. We've got awesome coastline along here. We've got no crocodiles like Buck has up there. We've got no crocodiles to worry about. So you can actually go into the water and go swimming. No stingers as such, although we've got the blue bottles. They sting like crazy and hurt like shit, but they don't kill you. So, and of course we've got Fraser Island just across the water as well. Almost my second home there. What rooftop tent I'm currently using? You have reviewed a fair few. I certainly have. I've tried many. And right now I'm using a Rooftop. Has anyone heard of that? Do you know what a Rooftop is? It's from South Africa. It's handmade. It is an electric rooftop tent. Guys, electric. There is no setting up. This thing has got my bedding stored inside it, already made, ready to go. It's got a mattress in it that's more comfortable than my $3,000 plus mattress in my bedroom. I kid you not, I get a better sleep in there than I do on the expensive mattress I've got here in my bedroom. Well, not here, I'm not in my bedroom. This is my computer room slash bit of a garage where I store all my camping gear. Also got my computer gear in here as well. So all the caravanners are stuck in the Queensland parks as they cannot get home. Yeah, that's true. A lot of them are actually. A lot of them cannot get home because they can't cross the border. So Rooftop, manufactured from a company down in South Africa. Every one of them is handmade. And electric rooftop tent. Takes less than 20 seconds to set up. So basically you pull over, You undo 4 latches, you press the button, 20 seconds later, it's up, it's all set up, all automatic. That's all you got to do is push a button. No poles to stick out, no poles to do this, no ladders you have to climb up to set up. Bed's already made, pillows already made, heaps of room for all of that. Grab your ladder, hook it on, climb up, go to bed. That's it. As quick as that, guys. It's awesome. And it's got a 10 centimeter mattress. As I mentioned, it's so comfy. I store a queen size doona in there. Sometimes I store a -7 sleeping bag in there as well. 2 household pillows. Sometimes I store some clothes up there. Sometimes even store the ladder up there. Most of the time I carry the ladder in my vehicle, but sometimes I even store it up there. Once you buy these Bunda tops, guys, there's no money. You do not need to spend any more money like a lot of the rooftop tents are now. You don't have to pay money to get LED lights fitted. You don't have to pay money to get fans installed. They come with 2 fans included. You don't have to pay extra money for power points so you can charge your phones and your tablets and all that. They include all of that, all included. In fact, when I ordered mine, they asked me, do you like to sleep in the morning or do you like to wake up early? And I thought, yeah, geez, that's a funny thing to say. I said, well, I'd like to sleep in if I get a chance to. I said, right, you go for the green one. You basically got a choice of 2 colours. There's a grey or a green one. The grey one, even though it's the same material, it's same weight, it lets more light in, whereas the green one, it's like a really nice olive green, doesn't let any light in. And I kid you not, I could go up there in the middle of the day, close all the doors, and I've got to turn the LED light on because that's how dark it is inside. So it's quite remarkable. It's very sturdy. I've been through storms. There's no wind noise. Okay. It's got an awning that folds in, automatically folds in. So it's got a awning that goes around the whole thing. Surrounds the whole thing. It's got 4 huge windows entryways, so there's 4 access ways, so it doesn't matter which way you face it. If the wind changes direction, it'll come through. It's got your fly screens, that huge awning that overlaps the windows, so you can actually leave the windows open by at least half depending how heavy it rains, so you get a nice flow of air going through. And also I mentioned 2 fans are included in it as well. And it's no heavier than the iCamper that I had. If you looked at it, you would think that, you know, this thing weighs really heavy, but no, it's all built lightweight. So it's no heavier than an iCamper. So my vehicle's got no problems carrying it. And I think it's by far the best rooftop tent of all the ones that I've tried so far, by a long shot. By a long shot. I don't think there's anything out there personally that comes close to it. I think they're that good. So, Andrew St. Pierre White said the Red Arc 40 amp is better value than the 50 amp. Yeah, I think he said that because the 50 amp, I think the best he's ever seen out of it's about 45 amps. And the Red Arc 40 amps. Now, talking about Red Arc, because I got the Red Arc BCDC 1225D, and now I've got this lithium battery and I'm using it, it's got 240 volt stuff in there. So obviously something at 50 amps charge rate would be really nice to have while I'm driving. But guys, I heard something about these new Red Arcs of late. Is it true? Someone's mentioned to me, and I've actually even seen a YouTube video on it. I can't remember the guy who did it, but he's a famous YouTuber. It's not Andrew St. Pierre White. But it's a guy who's got the DCS batteries and he gets them for free and tries them all out and so on, lithiums. I can't think of his name now. I think it was him. He mentioned that these new Red Arc BCDCs now, they'll only run for 2 hours and then they shut down. And if you want them to keep charging any longer, you've got to turn your car off and turn it back on. I'll be buggered if I'm going to have something to do like that. I don't want to, even though they say you should pull over every 2 hours on the highway, I don't pull over every 2 hours on the highway. Sometimes I'm travelling, I drive as much as 4 or 5 hours before I pull over for a break. It'd be buggered if I need to pull over, stop the car and turn it on so I could charge the battery again. There's no way in the world I'm going to, where the older ones like I do, they don't have that limit. Is that true? Do these new Red Arcs, particularly this 50 amp one, have that, and the new 40 amp ones that are built, have that? Guys, I think Red Arc is behind the technology, guys. Red Arc is just behind. I know they're Australian made, Australian built. That's great. They are a great product. I got the 1225D for, but geez, it's a lot of money. A lot of money even 5 years ago. Even shopping around, getting at the discount price I did, it was still a lot of money. But hey, 5 years later, still thing goes. And that's the beauty. But guys, Victron. Man, Victron. Honestly, Victron gear, guys. I don't think there's anything out there. They got the technology. They've got the gear. The stuff you can do with that is just amazing what you can do with the Victron gear. You can see a lot of what I've got here is all Victron now. And there's actually more. You got the schematic I'm showing you here. There's actually more than that on there now as well. Actually, someone, if you haven't seen the Bundatech, check this out. Hang on, started shortly, don't worry about that. Do I have one without the Bundatech? Here we go. That's it. See that on the top? That's the Bundatech Bundatop Rooftop tent. So on the left hand side, also this thing here is pre-wired for solar panels as well. So you don't have to get someone in and pay big money to wire in all the wiring for your rooftop tent, because this thing here, everything's pre-wired, including solar panel plugs all wired. If you look close, you can actually see there's a red plug there. See the little red at the back on the bottom? That's a solar panel input. There's another one like a white one at the top. That's for your power into the tent. So I've got that permanently mounted in there. It plugs into the DC hub, the Andrew St. Pierre Egon DC hub, and I've got that wired through a switch so no bugger can walk around there, push a button while it's latched and potentially cause any damage if they try to lift it up while it's all latched down. Although it's got safety features in there, fuses, and I've got 2 fuses in there that will blow if the motor goes over a certain rated amps, so that way it won't damage anything. But still, so I wired in a switch, so I just turn a switch on and off, and it's a lighted switch. You can actually see it's on. Look at the picture. See that red light? That's the red light from the switch to indicate that there's power to the Bundatop. That's it's not as bright as that. Mind you, these photos here, I've taken these photos. These are like 15-second exposures you see here. Okay, so 15-second exposure about f2.8 on 16mm full frame lens on a full frame digital camera, and it's just showing that red light there. So it's not as bright as what that seems there, but that's what that's indicating. That way I can tell whether there's power on that or not, whether I've forgot to switch it on or off or whatever. So you can see the 4 big entryways in. There's 2 on the other side, so you can enter any of those 4 directions. You can enter in there. They come in 3 sizes. This is the standard size, which is, I think it's 1.4 wide overall. 1.3, no, I think it's 1.35 wide and about 2.1 long or something. It's 30 centimeters high when it's closed, which is the same height as the iCamper and around about the same weight as the iCamper. But a lot easier to set up. Not as big as the iCamper though, but that was getting a little bit too big for me. It had a king size bed in it. It was nice, but it was a pain to set up, honestly guys. And the mattresses that come with them, they're like a torture machine, those iCampers. And they're around about the same price as what these bundle tops are. So I know which one to go for, these bundle tops. Very good quality canvas. It's their own South African canvas. It's something called a rip block. It's got UV treated. It's very heavy. It's very heavy duty. It's very quiet in the storms. You don't see any flapping noises or anything. So the wind doesn't affect it. It sets up really nice and tight. The whole thing's automatic. You press the button. Soon it gets to the right tension, it stops. Same when you drop it down. You drop it down. Soon as it gets down to a point, about an inch or so from the bottom, the motor automatically cuts out. So there's like a winch motor in there, like one of those similar to a winch boat motor that's in there. And if by any chance you have problems with the wiring, you can bypass it and put power direct to the winch motor to run it up and down. And if by any chance something happens to the winch motor, which I believe, I've never ever heard anyone have any issues with that winch motor. It's a very reliable brand. You can actually bypass that and set it up manually up and down as well. So, hey Landy, where do I find Andrew St. Pierre White? Andrew St. Pierre White's got the YouTube channel, what's it, 4X Overland or whatever? Could someone post a link to it? Are you replacing your Safari panels with the kick-ass 300 watt? I think I'm going to run both of them. I'm not going to replace them. I'm going to bring two, depending where I go. Because I use such high demand products, I reckon running a 250 watt high voltage Safari through my Victron, I wouldn't mind getting another Victron MPPT to run the 300 watt. So what I might end up doing is getting another Victron MPPT and run one panel for one and run another through the other one. Potentially that will then give me probably 38 amps, probably pushing 40 amps in peak day. That'll be coming through my system from those two lightweight solar blanket. But then there's also going to be times that I won't even take a solar panel. I'll just bring my generator as well, because honestly the generator is, I can't tell you how successful, when I've been running the tests on that little Honda generator, how good it works on a setup like this. Because you don't need to run them for long. That's the beauty. You do not need to run them for long. Yep. Andrew regard as the best YouTube channel when it comes to 4x4 tips and setups. Yeah, I reckon he's one of the best by far. Andrew St. Pierre. He's a smart guy. I'm a patron for Andrew St. Pierre White. So in some ways I get extra footage and I get videos a fair bit earlier than what you guys will see them through YouTube, and we get a few extra ones at times. But a big benefit of actually being a patron Andrew St. Pierre is you actually get to talk to him. He actually will talk, he will chat back to you. And we've had quite a number of conversations together. So chatting about the Egon DC hub, chatting about my system that I've got set up and so on. So it's really interesting watching that video that he did on his 12 volt, where he's gone to and he's got a setup that is very similar to mine, but I noticed he's going for a lot heavier setup and going for 600 watts amps battery power. Now that's going to add a lot of weight. I don't think he needs to go that extreme, guys. I don't think he needs to. I've got a single, you could say it's really only good for 105 amp hour lithium. I've got a malt which weighs what, 12-13 kilos. I've got a multi plus that weighs 13 kilos. The one Andrew is looking at weighs 20 kilos. I've taken out all the drawer system. If you notice, I've got no drawers in my vehicle, although I am at the stage of planning and building my own little drawer system just on the side, okay, beside the fridge, so I can put my kitchen utensils in. Stuff like, you know, milk, spare milk, drinks or whatever, cups, forks, knives, spoons, all that sort of stuff. But I'm going to build my own drawer in there. I've actually started planning it today. So I've taken a lot of weight out of the vehicle. So I'm doing what I'm doing now is I'm doing it lightweight. I could have gone for the 3000. Now I'm pushing the Multi Plus I've got in there now. I'm pushing it to its limits, guys. I'm pushing it to its limits, depending what I'm doing, depending what I'm using. But that's the beauty with these Multi Pluses, is that you can actually, with the assist mode, you can actually, it bypasses, it overcomes the, like, if I went and bought a 2000 watt inverter on its own, or a 1600 watt, what I've got is equivalent to a 1600 watt inverter. If I went and bought that on its own, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing now with that, because the Multi Plus has got a feature in it that's called assistant mode, which I'll talk about it one day in another video, but I have spoken briefly about it in some of the other vehicles. In fact, I did a video recently on generators, on how successful was the generator, and I think I might have spoke a bit about it in there. In fact, I'm going to post a video up soon where Steve from FJ Camping, he filmed the video when we went camping together recently at Damn Crazy, where this photo is actually taken right now, what you see. So Steve was just camping on the other side. You can see his FJ just to the front of my vehicle. Look in the back there, you can see the FJ under that tree, under the Milky Way. So, guys, isn't that amazing? That's a photo. That's how the Milky Way came out. 15-second exposure, f2.8 on a 16mm lens, full frame digital camera, and that's what you get when you do that. That's what the Milky Way looks like, guys. Isn't that impressive? The Milky Way like that. And here's another one here. And check this one out. This is at the entrance of Damn Crazy, where they got this old truck. This one might be a better example. Right there. You can see there. So these are my own photos. I captured these photos myself. This one here is my favourite. This one here, I really like this one. Love that one. I might do this one up into a stubby cooler one day. I reckon that'll look cool on a stubby cooler. So give that a go one day. Yeah, 600 amps. Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to parallel 200 amps together. I think he's going the wrong way. They'll be weighing about 22 kilos, 20 kilos each. He'll be looking over 60 kilos of batteries. I've got a 13 kilo battery, and it's going to do probably more than what he's going to be doing on his system. if I'm gonna have a chat to him. I'm gonna have a chat to him, and I'm gonna tell him what sort of system, go over my system, and tell him what I've got, and because I'm really keen to see if he's going to continue on with that. I don't think he needs to go. I don't think he needs to go that extreme. Yeah, here's the only one that I'm a patron for. Yeah, Landy Smurf. Yeah, I'm a patron of a couple other 3 places. I'm a patron on for 3 channels. Yeah, and one guy, he's a computer tech, and another guy, he's a sailing adventurer. They live on a boat, and they use all Victron gear. And I follow they're Australians, and no, actually, she's Australian, he's English. They're currently in Australia now. I follow them. And guys, there's actually another mob that's fairly famous in the YouTube land, where they're doing sailing. There's a lot of YouTube channels out there with these sailors, and they're traveling around the world, and they're making enough money just from YouTube to sustain their living on a yacht, and they go to these exotic places. There are so many people doing it. But there's one girl, she's from Adelaide, and there's a guy, I don't know if they're married, I don't think they're married, but they've been together for a long time. A very famous channel. They're in the process of getting a new boat made up now. I chat to them regularly, and really nice people. And they're using all the Victron gear and all so on and so on. So a lot of this gear is that I'm using here, I follow them as a patron. A lot of this gear that I use here, they use all these yachties that they use. These people that really need gear that's reliable, that it will do the job. Like, they go to some of the most exotic locations in the world where the fuel is not the best, their shore power is really dodgy, and that's where these Victrons multi-pluses come in their own. They're ideal for conditions like that, and I think they're absolutely ideal for RVs and campers as well. So honestly, guys, because I needed a new, when I've got the lithium, I needed a new AC charger, and I wanted a bigger inverter because I only had a 600 amp inverter that I won in a competition. And funny enough, it happened to be in an Australian Direct Kick-Ass competition as well that I won. It was a photographic competition, and I won on that, and I won something like $600 worth that I could pick from Australian Direct, and I chose a 600 amp inverter, but it's never been enough for me. I never hardly used it. I've still got it here, and it still works fine. It's probably about 3-4 years old. So I thought then, geez, why buy 2 separate units? Why not buy something that's all built into one? And I started doing research, and I saw all the features and all that it has. And I think it's, magic. I think it's magic. But to be honest, if I was doing it again, I would have bought the same one that Andrew St. Pierre was getting, the 3000 VA over the 2000, because I'm really pushing the 2000 VA to its limits, although it is handling it. But the problem is, as it gets warmer, the less they produce. The cooler you can keep them, the more watts they'll produce. So we're coming into summer, so it's going to be interesting to see if it's going to be able to do. But then, that's where the assistant mode comes in. I can whack a generator or shore power to it. And when you run in a generator or shore power, what AC is coming through that bypasses the inverter. It doesn't go through the inverter. And it's only the inverter that's limited. So you can run as much wattage through it. Like, I've ran the induction cooktop and the oven at the same time, drawing as much as 3800 watts through a 1600 watt inverter. And that's because of the assistant mode. And that's why, because of that feature, that's why I reckon Andrew, and I can't, to be honest, I can't imagine Andrew's going to whack a 240 volt bloody cooktop oven in his vehicle he's going to do. He might surprise us. If he's only going to run the induction cooktop, I think the 3000 VA is going to be an overkill by a long shot. You only need the 2000 VA, and it's almost half the weight of the 3000. So, but I am pushing it to its limits with that oven. But if I run the a generator and shares the load with then there's no issue whatsoever. It works fine. So to be honest, it's very rare that I ever push it right up to its limit. But as it's getting warmer, it's going to produce the less wattage, and that could get interesting. It's still not going to have. It's going to have no problem still running the induction, even if it's like 50, 60 degrees outside, because my induction only draws about 1300 watts peak basically, and it's adjustable. I can adjust it down from 500 watts up to about 1350, I think the most I've seen it draw out of it. My coffee machine, depends how I run it. I won't get enough driving for the 30 amp charger. I love Victron's features, but worry I won't be doing enough driving for the 30 amp charger. That's the DC-DC, yeah. You know, Victron have another DC-DC. They're not called. They don't call them a DC-DC, but they're quite pricey though. Victron has another device that I think it's worthwhile considering over the 30 amp Victron one they've got. Cannot remember what it's called, but they've got them in three sizes. There's a 25 amp, there's a 50, and there's a 100 amp. They're virtually a DC-DC. Now the 100 amp is very expensive. The 25 or the 50 are not very expensive at all. The 50 would be worthwhile considering. Not many people know about them. I just had it happen recently. One of the biggest Victron distributors for the Wide Bay area where I live, just down the road from me, and I went to visit them the other day. And actually a lot of this Victron gear I actually bought from them, and I got to know them quite well. So they're intrigued on the system that I'm building and so on. And these guys, they know it all. They got vehicles. You should see the big vehicles they set up here. And they got this huge warehouse that's just full of Victron stuff. They're one of the biggest distributors for Victron in this Queensland area here. And they just so happened to be down the road from me. And it's funny, I never knew they were here until I was watching TV one day and the ad popped up on TV and I thought, what? Victron distributor in Bundaberg? I had no idea there was one here. So the following Monday I went down there to see them, and that's the day when I bought the Multiplus. And in fact they tried to talk me to go into the 3000 VA. And even when I went to see them the other day, they asked me, why didn't you go for the 3000 VA? I said I wanted to keep the weight down. I wanted to build this system as light as possible, so that's why I went to the 13 kilos. So, the 13 kilo one. And it's doing everything I want it to do, but at times with that oven, when I'm running that oven, it is pushing it at its limit. But it's handling it no problem so far. Will be interesting to see what happens when it gets hotter in summer. But then I'll just cook otherwise. I still have no problems running the inverter. I'll just cook with something else, if that's going to be an issue. My 12 volt setup plan, 50 amp red arc DC-DC Victron Smart Shunt 300 watt kick-ass panels. Yeah, pretty much what my system is, except I got the 25 amp red arc. and plus heaps of other gear. I'm loving my system. It's absolutely awesome. Let's go back to the schematics, although there is more that I need to add to this. I've got an external monitor as well now, and I've got a multi-control, a digital multi-control that I can remotely control. From the back of my vehicle, I can remotely control the multi-plus. And what that does is got a dial on it that I can control how many amps maximum input that comes in from shore power or generator. Well, I've got a generator plugged in or shore power. I can limit the amps coming in. And by doing that, for example, let's say, for example, I'm running a Honda generator, which I own. And those things are, as you're aware, those things are really quiet when they're running close to idle, but as soon as they rev up a bit, they do make a fair bit more noise. So if you run them at idle, they're really great. So what I do is I reduce the amperage down, maximum down to 6.5 amps on the multi-plus. So what that does is it limits my generator to run, it puts out 1200 watts. And at 1200 watts, the Honda 22i generator is really quiet. Once you go to 1600 watts, there's a fair bit more noise then. But then that's only putting out 1200 watts. Say I'm running my stove that puts out, say, 1600 watts. Then, bop-bomb, it's not going to work, is it? That's where the assistant that I told you, that feature, comes in. What it does, the extra 300 watts, it draws that from the battery. Okay, so it draws that from the battery. And an average, actually, guys, I've got a photo here. Let me bring up this photo. I've got to download it. Wait a minute. Let me just download it. I've got a photo that will explain how. I don't know if you understand what I'm meaning, but I've got this. Got a couple of images here I want to share. It shouldn't take me too long to. I don't know how many of you guys are still watching here. What do we got? 9 people. That's alright. If there was no one watching, I wouldn't go any further. But for you guys, if you're interested in this. Okay, just let me bring this. I'll just open up. I'll create a new page here of just this one photo. It'd be quicker for me to do this than to edit these other ones. Alright, almost there. Just got to look for the photo. Here it is. Okay, to transfer this over. Right, here's a perfect example, guys, assisting. What it's doing. This is the external monitor I was talking about. Okay, so what you see here, this is the external monitor that I've now got in the back of my vehicle. Pretty much can control everything through this. I can also remotely connect to my vehicle anywhere in the world and bring up this monitor as well. So I'm running the generator, and as I mentioned, I've got it turned down to, so no more than 6.5 amps comes in from either shore power generator to the multi-plus. When I do that, it drops it down to, so the generator's generating 1258 watts. At 1258 watts, that thing is really quiet. But I'm running a stove that's assuming 1530 watts. So you can see here, assisting mode. See the battery on the bottom left there? It's at 100% charge. So those extra wattage that required to run this is coming from the battery. So I'm only losing 26. It's only like 26.5 amps is all it's producing to make up that extra 300 watts, as you can see there. So it's hardly putting any strain on the battery whatsoever. Now, I can up the amperage rate. If I upped it to, say, 7.5, 8 amps, that will then jump up to around about 1600 watts and even 1800 watts. And then what that will do, that will easily run this stove that's consuming 1530 at the moment. That will easily run that, but it will also produce extra, so it will charge the battery at the same time. And if you got solar power, particularly once I got the 300 watt kick-ass, and then I'll have the Safari 250 watt high voltage solar panel, ideally running through another Victron MPPT, which will probably put in close to 40 amps as well. Now that's going to assist it as well. So that's the advantage, and that's why you don't need to go for these big 3000 VAs or 5000 VAs. They're sure, they're nice, yes, but you don't need to have them. But like I said, if I was doing it again, I would have purchased the 3000. I think the 3000 is the ideal size to go for an RV if you want to run an oven. But like I said, I'm actually managing to do it. But I need assistance. Although this system will, I mean, to be honest, it will run this. This is 1531 watts, okay? So this is a 1600 watts. So in cooler weather, this will run at no problems without having a generator or anything like that coming through, okay? The only issue I have then is this battery. When I'm running 1531 watts, I mean, you're looking at about 155, 160 amps is being drawn out of the battery. The iTech World 120X is a recommended continuous charge rate, discharge, is 150 amps. So they don't recommend anything more than that, although it has got a peak. It's got a higher peak, but that's only briefly. But it can run at 175 amps for up to 5 minutes if I remember the specs. So it's actually a very good battery for what it is, for what you pay for it. It's actually got some really good cells in it. And you can really, and that's really important, you can't just grab any lithium battery and just whack it in there. Most of the lithium batteries around have got a maximum discharge of 100 amps. They're going to be useless. You don't want that at all. You need something that's got a minimum 150, ideally 200. I would have liked the 200. If I had a battery in here that's got a discharge rate of 200, I could run all this, no problems at all, without having any assistant power running through when I'm running this oven. And I could even run something else with it as well that'll draw higher than, particularly if you've got the 3000 VA. So I can't see Andrew going to go and buy a air fryer as big as what I've got. To me, it looks like he's just going to run mainly an induction and probably a few chargers and so on. So I think the 3000 is probably an overkill, particularly if he's really keen, he wants to save weight, because a kilo here, a kilo there, a kilo here, and so on, and in the end it really adds up, and it's a huge difference. So, oh wow, guys, we've got 11 watching at the moment. That's cool. So we might as well keep going, eh? So that's a perfect example of showing how assistant works. So you can see generator. Now if I was on shore power, that'll show up shore power. If I had the solar panel running, this will show the solar panel, well, how many watts it's generating, how many amps it's putting in as well. DC power is the 12 volt componentry side of things, okay? So what the 12 volt is drawing, so it's drawing 73 watts, okay? So whatever that is, that could be the fridge. It could be the fridge running at that time. So, and then I can click on the menu and go through this in more detail. And in fact, I've got another photo here that I'm going to show you. Let me bring you up something else. I'll show you an example of something else here. And image. Okay. That's the beauty of running this system that I've got here, and thank God I've sorted it out. Seems to be working. Here it is. Okay, let me show you this. This is the same monitor. So I've gone into the specifications. So this is part of some of the information I can get from my system. This is the results today, where I had the 300 watts kick-ass solar panel out today. So you can see it's produced at 0.7 of a kilowatt. So I left the battery. I didn't charge the battery overnight, so I left it drop down to about, I think the battery dropped down to about 70% or something like that. So it took 2 hours. So this is from early this morning. I put them out about 8 o'clock. So by about 10 o'clock, my battery is already fully charged. So you can see 268 watts is the maximum went up to. There's that 21, nearly 22 volts coming in. Okay, this is the minimum the battery went down to. That's the maximum. At peak 19.7 amps. This has gone up to 19.7. So bulk, 2 hours 17 minutes. Now it does say absorbent here. You don't get an absorbent charge with lithium. But what absorbent mode, they still recommend to set an absorbent charge. So what it is it's not really absorbent charging. What it is it sets the charge, once it's full bulk charge, it sets it 14.6. It's a good idea to charge your lithium to 14.6 volts, depending on each one's a varying difference, but most of them 14.6 volt. Because what that does then is it'll assist to keeping the cells balanced, those extra volts. So this one's set to do it for 1 hour, and then once it's done that, it drops down. And then you can see it's at float for nearly 3 hours, basically. So I had it out today for, what's that, 3, 4, 5, 6, just over 6 hours. I think I packed it away at about 2 o'clock, 2:30 or something. Just running out. You could scroll down and see yesterday's and so on and all the data. So this is some of the data, but if you go through the portal, there's actually even more data than this. This is just a fraction of what information you can get out of it. You go through the portal, and that's uploaded to the Victron portal, and there's a shitload more information there on practically every part of your component. So I love information. I want to know what the battery is doing. I don't want to go camping and not know, what state of charge my battery is. I want to know that everything's good. I want to be able to just glance at a screen and see, yep, that's all good. See what it's drawing. So that monitor is pretty much right next to where the stove is, the induction cooktop, where I got that set up, where the coffee machine is. I just touch the screen and it stays on. I can program it to stay on for 10 minutes, half an hour, whatever. I can have it so it stays on all the time. So that's the beauty with that. Power hungry. Thanks for the advice, Sandy. I'll have to keep looking into the Victron 30 amp DC-DC versus the Red Arc 40 amp or 50 amp. Mate, guys, I wouldn't go for either one of them. I wouldn't go for the Red Arc. I would not go for the Victron 30 amp. I go for Victron, but a lot of people are not aware that these are not the only DC-DC chargers that Victron put out. There is another one, and I cannot for the life of me remember what it is. And be honest, guys, I did not know about it until I went for the guys down at the big Victron warehouse here. Man, you should see all the gear they got here. One of the techs took me through a tour through the distributorship here and showed me some of the gear, and he says, have you heard of this? And he showed me, and he says, mate, I recommend this. You can charge 100 amps. Instead of going 30 amps, 50 amps, 40 amps, whatever you're looking at there, how does 100 amps sound? You can charge 100 amps. Even if that's buck boost. I think that's it. Yes, Ian, you got it spot on. I think that sounds familiar. It's a buck boost. Now, he told me the 100 amp one, it's an expensive unit. He told me the price, but they also have it in a 25 and a 50. And a 25 and a 50 are shitloads cheaper. But I tell you what, that 100 amp, mate, if you got the batteries, that can handle up to 100 amp. But the thing is, with this 100 amp one, you can actually dial it down to 25 or 50, so you don't have to run it at 100 amp. I seriously can. I think that's what they're called, the buck boost. They showed me. They told me a majority of the big vehicles that they're setting up now, I don't think it's got Bluetooth. No, I don't think it does, but in saying that, even the Victron 30 amp DC, you'll find it's got no Bluetooth on it, I don't believe. I don't know, does it? I don't think so. So I don't think it's got any of that. See, in my case, let me go back to this. Where's that screen that I had here before? There we go. Go back to this screen. Same as my Red Arc. Okay, Red Arc is not compatible with this system. It will not connect on this, so it does not give me a separate graph to show what the DC is doing, apart from DC power. So when the Red Arc is charging, it will show me here what the 12 volt system is putting in or taking out. So I can still get some info from there. And plus, so that kind of, yeah, 866 at 8 belt marine for the 50 amp model, yeah. I would go over for that one over the other two. But seriously, look at the, check out, Ian, check out the price for the 100 amp. You'll have a fit. You'll scare, but mate, it is solid. You should see the thing. It weighs a ton. It is humongous. It's even got this humongous big fan on it. I can see why it's so expensive. But the guys are telling me, mate, you need to whack this and that. But you need to update your alternator. You need a very high capacity alternator to run the 100 amp one. So it's very similar in some ways to that Safari one that Safari do. What do they call it? Tomboy or... Oh, not Tomboy. What do they call it? Scotty? Scotty, is that it? Scotty? It's somewhat similar to that. These buck boost, I believe. So the guys have shown me, I mean, they had a lot of vehicles there. They had big, you know, big setups there, motorhomes and big caravans and all that. And he was showing the majority of them are going for these buck boosts now. The ones that are really, you know, want the power. Scotty, yeah, that's what it's called. Yep. There are a lot of them, he's telling me, are going for the buck boost. I never heard of them before until they showed it to me, and it was just last week. And in fact, I hit them up whether they want to do a going you know, with me and do a video on their business, on the distributor, and showing some of the Victron gear. And yep, they're really happy to it. So any day now, I just got to talk to them, tee them up with them. So keep an eye out, guys. There's going to be a video soon coming out showing a Victron warehouse and some of the tech guys there showing some of the gear, what's coming out, and some of the stuff that they're doing with this Victron gear. So that's going to be coming up very soon, guys. I'm going to be doing a video on that, and I'm going to be talking with the guys, and they're going to take us around on a tour. So I reckon that's going to be an awesome video. So we're just working on that now. And the guy that's the tech guy, young guy, very knowledgeable. He's really good in front of the camera as well. I think he's even got his own YouTube channel that he's running at the moment as well. So there we are, $1,500 for the 100 amps. What's the go with the kick-ass solar panel? The competition, yes, we spoke all about that earlier tonight, hours ago. I can bring it up again, that's no problem. Hang on, let me bring up where is it? Where is it? Have I... Oh, I got rid of that image. Okay, wait a minute. I should have a paste. So how it works, what you do, I just posted a link up. What you do is you go to, let me bring this up. Okay, so the prize is the 200 watt super thin solar panel. As of midnight tonight, entries open at midnight tonight. What you got to do is go on that link that I just posted, and I think you just put in your name, phone number and email address, something like that. And then entries close in 10 days time, which I think is not this Sunday, it'll be the following Sunday, probably the 17th at midnight. And then Kick-Ass is going to pick the winner at random. Okay, so I'm not picking the winner. Kick-Ass is going to do it at their end. Then they're going to notify me who win, and then I will announce it. I'll probably do a live feed and announce it that night, or whenever they draw the winner. Probably would be following day or the day after. I don't think it will, well, particularly it won't end till midnight that day anyway. So it'll be 2 or 3 days after that. I'm sure they'll get back to me. And then what will happen is someone from Kick-Ass, Tanya, I think her name is, I have to check, Talia or Tanya, will then call you and congratulate you and get your mailing address, and then organise the postage of the solar panel to you. So it's open to everyone that can access to this link, so you don't have to be subscribed to my channel. So if you want to subscribe, you can. If you don't, it's all good. You only have to be a watcher, and just go on there and put your name down, and you'll be in a good chance to win one of these solar panels. So that's how that works. Okay. One day I'm going to run my own prize giveaway, but how we'll have it, I don't know what I'll use as a prize yet. I'm going to see what I can team up with some other company, if I can get something decent. And what I'll do is I'll have it open to those who are registered, as long as you, on my 3 platforms. If you sign up to my YouTube channel, if you sign up to my... Yeah, I did. I was talking about it before the... You must have chatted about it before your audio was ratchet. Hang on, show this. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I was talking about it back then. Obviously, it looks like I've sorted out the audio now. So subscribe to all my 3 platforms, my new Facebook channel, my Instagram and my YouTube channel, and then out of all those I'll use some computerized thing that picks an entrance by default, and then I'll send that prize off to them. So I'll see what I can team up, see what I can get. Hey guys, I might even hit Victron up when I'm down the generator. Actually, that's given me a thought. I'll see if the Victron guys here will be kind enough to donate a Victron product so I can use as a prize draw and announce it when we're doing the when I do the video on their depot, having a bit of a walk around, showing around some of the gear they've got and what they're doing, and you know, some of the range and technology, and I'll get them to talk a bit about it, and I'll get them to go over my vehicle as well, and they could probably talk more about it in a more technical way than what I can. So that's a video we got coming up soon, and I'll hit the guys up and I'll let them know, hey, I want to do a giveaway, you know, are you guys willing to you know, donate something, and I'll see what we can do, eh? I want to start running few more giveaways and stuff like that, but this one I'll be doing, you'll have to sign. I think it'll be fair, you have to sign up to all 3 platforms. I mean, you could probably sign up and then enter it and then to a runner. Yeah, so yeah, that high thing popping up its head and hand all over the place is annoying the crap out of me. I'll change this over here. So that's how that is working. Now let me see, is there any other questions here? Just going to go back on some of the questions here. Damn crazy. Oh, camper cruise in Australia. Missed you by 4 days at Damn Crazy. Oh, you're kidding. Yeah, I'll tell you what, that Damn Crazy, I never knew the place existed, and it's not too far from where I live. And it's really nice and lovely people running it. They're awesome people. I think they're from Kiwi. I think they're Kiwis. They moved over here a few years ago. But what an interesting place, guys. If you've never heard of it and you're in the central Queensland coast area, there's this place called Damn Crazy Camping. You can get a caravan in there. There's no powered sites or anything like that, okay? So it's a fairly remote area. But you're camping overlooking this humongous big dam. And it's in between Childers and Biggin. So you got probably about 5 k's of dirt road to drive on, but it's no problem. It's fairly smooth. Heaps of people, caravans are coming in and out of there, no problems at all. You camp overlooking the water. Make sure you bring levelers to level your van out, because the ground is a little bit hilly there, so you'll be struggling to find a levels patch. So bring blocks of wood or your caravan levelers and stuff like that, so you can level your setup. But the history of the place is remarkable, because they bought it off this this guru, this I think he's a developer. It was a filthy rich developer at the time, and he bought this land. I think it's about 65 acres or something, and he built this big cabin, log cabin, and the log cabin's still there, but they're going to pull it down. They're in the process of building their own home, because there's a lot of damage to the log cabin and that now. And he built this dam in there. He built the dam in. This dude spent big dollars on this place. So he built this huge dam, and he had all these walking platforms all around the dam where you can walk out to. But they're not there anymore. There is one section still there where you can walk out to, but all the ones around it. where you're camping used to be a golf course. Okay, so you had a golf course there. And it's got a lot of walking tracks through there as well. And the walking tracks are awesome. They're varying through to like a rainforest area where you can walk through. Right up to this hilly lookout you can go up to, and it's awesome sunset. You can get awesome sunset photos there and that. And it's also got a like an airport thing. It's got an airplane hangar there where he used to store his plane, and it's got 2 runways on this property. And this guy bought it like that. so of course they were down here on holidays on Kiwi, and they stayed at that place and they loved it so much, and they arranged, when they went home, they managed to actually purchase the property, and I think they opened it up to campers not so long ago, and it's not very expensive at all. They're building this huge fireplace, this wooden fireplace that's already built, and they're going to start doing pizza nights and all that as well. And the wildlife there is just incredible, guys. The wildlife is amazing. I've never seen so many different types of birds and kingfishers and that. In fact, there was about 2 or 3 professional photographers there with these huge lenses just camping there for weeks, just taking photos of the birds, the wildlife there. It was just amazing how many finches and that there are there. So it's a bit of an eye-opener. It's quite a nice place. So yeah, it's worth checking out. No showers, but they do have flushing toilets. So you have to bring your own shower. And they've got no water connection, so you need to make sure you bring plenty of water. But it's only about a 15-20 minute drive at the most from Childers. And probably about the same 20-minute drive or whatever from a town called Biggendon, which is not too far away, which you can pick up groceries and get your water and so on. So not a bad place to check out. If you go on my YouTube channel, go back, I did a video on it called Damn Crazy Camping, and I've got a bit of a short video there showing what the place looks like. They got kayaks there that you can use for free. So you just grab them, go out and go for a paddle. And they don't charge any extra for the kayaks. So they got timber. You can buy the timber off them and they'll deliver the timber to you at only a cost of $10. And it's virtually almost a wheelbarrow full of timber. And it's only $10. And yes, they're damn crazy. That's it. Yeah. Who else have we got here? Any other questions? Oh yes, a fellow DFC here, Camp Cobart, had one of those rooftop tents, pretty cool. That'll be me bunda top. So how long we've been going for? Just order another battery from iTech, 48 amp hour slimline with the 2 Anderson plugs. How is yours going? Right, it's going pretty good. Although I did find a limit on it yesterday. That surprised me. It didn't, there was one thing, it didn't go to specs as the specs said. You look at the specifications on the iTech 120X, it says it's got a continuous discharge of 150 amps. Yesterday I was air frying some chips. I was at my mate Keith's place helping him out changing a water pump on his camper trailer. And so I said, oh well, let's give this thing a test. Let's fry up some chips, eh? So I had frozen chips in my kick-ass oven. So I fried up some chips in it. And it was drawing 140 amps out of the battery. And I thought, cool, that'll handle that, no problem. So it's going to take, what, 20 minutes to cook the chips. About 10 minutes into the cooking, I went and checked, and luckily with that gauges, everything, I just have a glance and I'll be able to see what the battery's doing, what it's drawing, etc. It was still drawing 140 amps, but the battery was at 78 degrees Celsius. And I believe it's got a limit of 80 degrees. So I quickly grabbed my AC power lead and I asked Keith, where's the nearest power point? He showed me, and I plugged it in and I took the load then from the AC, and as soon as I did that, you could see the battery temperature rapidly started coming down. And it's not like it was an overly hot day yesterday. So, yeah, that's not running at specs, guys. They're claiming that it runs 150 amp continuous, but I'll tell you what, I think if I had gone another 2 degrees more, I reckon the battery would have shut itself down. And apparently from what I'm hearing, once that BMS shuts down, it's a pain in the rear end to get it back up and running again. You've got to go through some, I don't know, weird methods and something or whatever to get power back on it so it'll start again, and I don't want that to happen. So yeah. Yeah, in summer, yeah, I think in summer it's probably not going to handle the draws too well. So to be honest, guys, it's not performing to the specs that I expected it to. That disappointed me a little bit, that it got so hot yesterday and it wasn't an overly hot day. And it was only drawing 140 amps for about, well, I don't know, 15 minutes or so, maybe close to 20 minutes before that happened. So it should have handled that. Shouldn't have got that hot. So, yeah, I've had other people tell me that it didn't run to the specs of what they said it would. And I saw it yesterday. I had another person tell me, I'll just buy another one and join them together and that will rectify it. No, I don't think it will. The tech guy at Victron told me, always had the plan to buy another 120X and parallel it together, and that'll give me 210 amps. And then thinking then I would be able to, instead of charging at the maximum 50 amps that it's rated at, they rate it between charge rate 20 to 50, so 50 is the maximum. You would think then if you add an additional one, then you'd be able to jump that up to 100 amp charge rate. In my case it'd be 80. The 1600 VA, the 2000 VA Multiplus I got, it's got a maximum charge rate of 80 amps. You can set it to charge your battery. So I would have set it at 80 amps. That was always the plan. But he told me, no mate, it doesn't work like that. He said on that iTech World 120X, he reckons that you're still limited to maximum 50 amps charge rate, and you're still limited to maximum 150 discharge. Makes no difference. It's to do with the BMS. Even if you got two connected together, he said it fools a lot of people. He said it won't work that way. The BMS is limited too much on that 120X. And this is a Victron guy that told me this. And you would think he knows what he's talking about. He says he's come by those batteries before, and he won't set them up in caravans. He doesn't choose to use. Well, they set up Victron batteries. Okay, they got the Victron lithiums, and they're magic. They're really good. Those things, yeah, you could stuff you could do with them, but you need some dough to buy them, guys. Those batteries are super expensive. But you know, but that's what they mainly use, and that's what they set up. So, and they don't come with the BMS. You actually, when you buy those iTech World not the iTech World, but the Victron Lithiums, they got no BMS in it. You have to buy the BMS separate, and it actually gets connected externally. So you got it, and they're not cheap either. But they're really good quality, and they will work extremely well. They got no issues with discharge, charge rate. These things are charged really quick. So if you're on an almost unlimited budget, you need quite a few dollars to get hands on one of those. The induction cooktop, depending which one you get, should be... See, my induction cooktop, I can't remember what the damn thing is called now, but it's actually designed for four drivers. It's actually designed to use, and it's got low power feature mode. And it actually works really good. So it doesn't draw as much as your regular induction cooktops, but it's still, the thing still hammers, still boils in no time at all, and cooks in no time at all. It's really, I mean, they're remarkable, these induction cooktops, and they're a lot safer. The Kmart ones are pretty good too. I think Ian, he's got one from Kmart as well. They're not too bad. But I've got one that's designed for four drivers. So when you turn it on, it actually turns on at 500 watts. So it doesn't, when you switch it on, it doesn't go boom, bang, big lot of amps or wattage just going straight out. So it's got like a slow draw and it starts up. So you can set it from 500 watts right up to 1500 watts. Although it won't, it's even got a boost mode at 1800 watts. But even when you set it on them, the most I've seen come out of that was about 1500 watts draw out of it. I mostly run it at about 1000 to 1200 because my Multi Plus handles that no problems at all. It'll even handle it on a day that's 40 degrees plus, no problems at all. So it works really good. I cannot remember what it's called, but if you go back on some of the videos on my YouTube channel, you should be able to see it there. I haven't done a review video on it yet. I don't know why. I should try to do one on that. I've been using it for such a long time. I've owned it for a while now. And in fact, I picked it up by fluke. It only cost me $120. I was at the Bundy disposal stores in the main street here where I live. And I walked in there one day and they had the last one left on the shelf, unpackaged. I've always wanted an induction cooktop. And they had one there, and this is before I even built the 240 volt system in my vehicle. So I was just going to use it at home. And I was using it at home for a while. And I had the last one sitting there and there was a 120 on it. And I asked the guys, you know, and he said, oh, you could have it for $100 or something, whatever you want. It's the last one. So I grabbed it, and when I did some research, I've seen them retail as much as $255 for this particular one. Actually, one place even had them for $4.99 for the same thing. So they vary. They vary in price from $130 up to $4.99. So you really got to shop around for it. And for the life of me, I can't even remember what it's called now. But I use it at home. Instead of using an electric stove, I use it at home now. It's just so much quicker. As soon as you put a pot on it, bang, heat's right there straight away. So, and it's saved on electricity. And of course it works perfectly for four drivers. The thing is just amazing. So it's lightweight, doesn't take up much room, it's durable, the wind doesn't affect it, so it works brilliant. Kind of sucks about the iTech. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised 140 amp on a day that's not, it couldn't sustain more than 140 amp. Because if I remember reading the specs, they say the battery's got a limit of up to 80 degrees Celsius. Would you believe? I'm pretty sure. Actually, let's bring it up. iTech World. I mean, it's a great battery. It's an impressive battery for what you get for the price, particularly at the time when I bought it, was less than, it was on sale and it was less than $800. So let's have a look. I'm pretty sure it's got a rating of up to 80 degrees Celsius. The specs, here we are. BMS operational temperature range, minus 40 to 80 degrees. I was 2 degrees Celsius off before that BMS was going to shut down. And it's got a safety protection isolator set at 80 degrees Celsius. And the optimum temperature range is between 5 degrees to 60 degrees Celsius. So yeah, and it says here continuous discharge 150 amps and 175 amps for 5 minutes. So it should be able to handle 175 amps for 5 minutes. Peak discharge 270 amps for 5 seconds. So, but like I said, I was drawing 140 amps out of it, and after 15 minutes yesterday, on a day that's not very hot, the battery was at 78 degrees Celsius. So I quickly rushed in the car, grabbed my extension lead, plugged it into power point nearby, and ran it on AC. And as soon as I did that, the battery temp just rapidly started coming down. So yeah. So it's not handling the draw that they say it does. And that's, yeah. That pisses me off when things don't operate to the specs. See, 12 volt lithium battery, iTech 120X, waterproof to IP67, 270 amp max discharge. Pre-order only, delivery pickup in October. Now, they're a brilliant battery. They're really good. At the moment, they're listed at $1,200. Well, see, I paid less than $800 at the time when I bought mine. They're a very good battery, but I need something, I think, that's capable with a better BMS that can have more higher discharge for the system that I'm running. So I'm going to ditch it, and I probably might just run it in the shed, run another fridge off it or something, or some lights off it. And I'm going to probably look at building my own lithium battery setup. Something in the range between 200 to 800 amps of the BMS that will sustain continuously 200 amp discharge, and it will handle a charge rate of 100 amps. I'm seriously considering building my own lithium battery pack. It's not new to me. I have built lithium battery packs before for helicopters. When I used to be into helicopters, radio controlled, these huge radio controlled helicopters. And I've still got them. They're just on the shelf just to the right of me, just up here. I've still got a couple up there. One is about 1.5 meters long. It's got like a petrol motor and all that stuff in it. That I used to do stunt flying with them. And I've got another one that runs on battery packs. I used to run on lipos, and I didn't like the lipos, so I built my own lithium packs for it, and I still got those, so I built my own lithium batteries for it, battery packs for it. And it's very similar technology to what these lithium cells are now. So I've been doing some research, and it's going to be a hell of a lot cheaper to make it than there is to buy one. Otherwise, I've got my eye on the DSC 200 amp. I know that's a really good battery, but it is pricey. So I'm considering that one. Because I believe it's got a discharge of 200 amps and a charge rate of something like 100. I can't remember now. It's been a while since I've checked that. So let's have a look. That was one of the batteries I was considering to get, and I'm kind of wishing I did buy that one, the 200 amp hour, but I went for the iTech World because of the enormous discount, the sale it was on at the time. And I mean, it's been great for that. That was perfect. Very good price. Where's the 200 amp? I can't find the 200 amp battery on their website. Batteries. Marine, no. DCS. 12 amp dual battery systems. PV, DCS battery bundles. Marine and RV. It would be under Marine and RV. Here it is. The DCS 12 volt 200 amp hour. Oh man, it's nearly $2,400. Geez, no wonder I'll never buy. I'm not going to pay that much for a battery. If I have to pay that much for a battery to get that sort of performance, I'm just going to build my own. Yeah, check it out. It's got a charge current. This is a recommended charge current. It's 140 amps, guys. You can charge it up to 140 amps. How cool is that? And maximum up to 200. You can even charge it up to 200 amps. That's where you're paying the dollars, eh? And what's the discharge rate? 5-year guarantee. All it says is maximum discharge current's 250 amps, but you don't go by that, guys. I mean, they might say maximum discharge, but they'll probably is like for 2 seconds. You need to look at the data that says continuous. What will it do continuous? And to be honest, most lithiums out there, most of them are less than 100 amps. So if you want to start running 240 volt systems, you're going to need something that's going to handle more than the 100 amp draw. So I can't find where the specs are, what it continuously will draw. It's interesting. It'll be here somewhere. I think I did look into it once, and I'm pretty sure I did find it, what it was. But guys, I'll go talk to the guys, ring them up one day when I'm ready to do something, and hit them up and see if they'll give me a deal if I promote their battery or not. If they don't, then I'll just go and build my own system. I reckon I could build something half that price with double that capacity with a 200 BMS that'll handle 200 discharge continuously, no problems at all. So probably the route I'll end up doing. So guys, we've been here for a while now, so might knock off here. Oh, I'm a computer tech. I've got a diploma in computer tech. Got a diploma in business and computer. So I'm information technology diploma in that. Went to Walker's Point on the weekend, Phil, then to Woodgate. You camped at Barham Point before? Oh, I used to camp Barham Point all the time until they stopped you from camping on the beach, so don't go there anymore. So yeah, only went there when we were allowed to camp on the beach and behind on the tree dunes and all that. It's all changed there now. Still a nice place. What they do for crust? Yeah, computer tech. Used to be farmer as well, retired farmer. Used to be a professional photographer as well, hence why you've probably seen quite a few of my images of late. I used to work as a freelance photographer. Used to do work for car magazines. Used to do the photo shoots for the car mags. I used to take photos of some of the sports. Used to go around to some of the sporting events and get photos of that. And so on. Had my own computer business for a little while. I was installing security cameras for a while as well. But most of my life working on farms, a farmer. Yeah. Yeah. I like to go to Kincoona section of the Barham Coast. I go to Kincoona section. It's quite nice along there. Although a lot of people know about it now, and unfortunately a lot of people seem to not doing the right thing, leaving a lot of rubbish behind, particularly just outside the park in the free camping zone areas. So I tend to just go into the camping area and pay for the fees because it seems to be better well maintained, and the people that go there seem to be the people that don't generally leave the rubbish behind. You go outside where the free camping area is and there's heaps of rubbish everywhere. So it gives you an idea on the type of people. Now, if you're from Harvey Bay, Kincoona, that's so close to you, man. Not far away, eh? It's nice there. It's really nice. But be prepared for wind. If there's a southeasterly blowing, you're going to cop it. Man, that place tests your gear out. That sand, it's just like sandpaper. If you want to test out your gear, your four-wheel drive, your camping gear, you go there when it's blowing the gale. You'll see what I mean. It's almost like a sandblast your legs. It actually hurts your legs sometimes as the wind blows that strong, the sand. Yeah, price point fantastic, 20% discount. Yeah, I had when I bought mine at the time, it was on a 20% discount. And when I was considering ready to go and purchase another one to parallel them together, they had it at $12.99 or something like $500 more. No, what was it? $400 or $500 more than what I paid about 2 weeks after I bought it. That pissed me off. That pissed me off. I actually contacted the guys at iTech World to see if they'll give me a deal, and I'll promote their battery, and they weren't interested. So that's why I haven't really done that many videos and talked about too much about their battery. They weren't willing to help me out. So that disappointed me a little bit when they did that. Yeah. No worries, Zane. Yeah, 30-second awning will snap. Guarantee it. Even my ostrich wing, I've got to tie that thing down. I'll tell you what, that's one place that tests your gear out, eh? You want to test gear out, you go there. Promo code. Though we were talking about a promo code, I was hoping I would have had a promo code for Australian Direct. But they never got back to me on it. We were talking about it as up to a couple of days ago. So it may not be too late. There could be a chance that those who have put their name in for the competition, which starts in 2 hours, to give you a chance to win the solar panel, there might be a discount codes for you guys that don't win. But they haven't verified it yet. But through the week, I'm sure I will ring them up through the week and find out and give them a bit of a push and see what sort of discount codes I can get for you guys. But As of right now, I don't. I was hoping they would have got back to me. Actually, let me check my email in case they did send something through. I haven't checked the email for a while today to see if they have sent a code through. Alright, just waiting the emails to download. There's a few here. No, unfortunately, no. No mention of any code. Here we are. When the giveaway ends, I'll draw a winner accordingly. I'll send you the winner's name and suburb to create a shout out to. I'll call them directly to also congratulate and organise the product to be shipped. That's straight from Australian Direct, from the social media coordinator and ambassador manager. So that starts at midnight, guys, and it's going to be shipped directly from Australian Direct. They're actually going to choose the winner. I won't see the solar panel myself. I won't have it. It will be shipped from the Australian Direct in the sunny coast where they are. So it's awesome, and they've been really good to me over the years, Australian Direct. They gave me the 300 watt solar panel, and they also gave me the new fridge slide that I've got with the pull out table, and they also gave me some undies. I haven't worn them yet, but they look alright. I might wear them tomorrow. How cool is that? I don't know about doing a review on undies though. Would you ever go canopy setup next, Phil? Yes, I would like to one day. I would love to have a canopy setup. I reckon a canopy setup for my system, what I'm doing, would be awesome. One day that will be nice to have like a dual cab, something with a dual cab, and have a nice canopy at the back. Keeping it lightweight though. I don't want anything too big. It's got to be lightweight. I don't want it to have like full coverage and all that. I think a lot of those canopies are far too heavy. But yes, it would be nice to have one of those canopy setups. I tried the same, Phil, with my new 48 amp hour. If I could get 20% discount being a returning customer, I bought the 120 amp hour battery, a 40 amp hour DC-DC charger. Yeah, no, yeah. Yeah, no, they told me, oh yeah, we get when I asked for help, you know, discount, you know, for a second battery and so on, and I said I'll promote it, you know, on my YouTube channel and explain it to them. They pretty much, they weren't interested at all. They told me that we get lots of people that do all this, say all that, and say they'll put a video up and then don't end up putting the video up. So they were just referring to me, just the way I looked at it, they were just looking at me as just someone ringing up out of the blue and just hoping to get a discount, you know, for doing nothing. So, I mean, I only had to go and look at my YouTube channel to see that there's no way that would happen. So I thought, if they're not going to put that effort in and do that, then I'm not going to push it. In the US, it's Tommy Manuel. Oh, wow. Tommy Manuel's guitar builder. Plays Spanish guitar. Ah, old mate of mine, just got some messages from her. I caught up years ago when I first bought, I was young when I bought the Range Rover. I owned that Range Rover for many, many years. And it's not that long ago I sold it. And I'm kicking myself I sold it. I should have kept it. Bloody things are worth a fortune now. I never thought they'd be like something that'll end up like a museum piece and it'd be as expensive as they are. But an old mate that used to do a lot of travel, we did a lot of big travelling, camping trips and bushwalks. For many years I've always been into it. My mate that used to join me on it. Um, 2007 I spent Thanksgiving in the US with Tommy Emmanuel's guitar builder. I remember you could play Spanish guitar. Yeah, I used to play guitar. I used to play Spanish guitar, and I used to play uh, what's it called? Oh gosh, finger picking. I was a finger picking guitar style. You know, the ones where you sit on a chair on the edge. You sit on the chair and you got your leg up, and the guitar's like this, and you go really fast. I used to pick classical. I used to play all the classical. I used to play classical music, and I used to play Spanish music on a guitar, and I was pretty good at it at the time too. We are a bit of a musical family, actually. My one of my nieces is in the Queensland Orchestra and travelled the world playing violin, and same as me two others as well. We are a very musical family. We've got family members. One plays trombones, he played piano. We got violin players, we got flute players, and I was a guitar player. But and I used to dabble in a bit of heavy rock music too. People would be surprised. I used to have the big, what are those, big Marshall amps, I think they were called, out in the farm, and I used to crank it up, and it had an electric guitar, and I used to play heavy metal on it. And I was good at it too, and I used to just jam the crap out of it. And I used to wait. That thing was freaking loud. I used to hate turning it on, because when you used to plug it in and turned it on, it used to go bang! This is a humongous big pop. It was louder than a bloody shotgun. So I used to sit there and wait till people drive past in their cars, and I used to sit there when I was younger, as a kid, and I used to sit there, and as soon as they come up and they drive by, and they're not far on the road, by a house, they go bang! His car's swerving all around the road. Oh man, he used to wear earplugs. Shit, that thing was loud. But predominantly I was a finger stylist playing classical and Spanish. The real Spanish stuff. And just a mate of mine just messaged back and just saying that. And old Tommy Emmanuel, oh man, Tommy Emmanuel, yeah, I've met him a couple of times. If you ever heard of him, it's an awesome guitarist playing. He's very similar style I used to play to him. But I was classical, though, more classical. But the finger picking and so on. But I had the classical stance, you know, all like this and so on. And you should have seen the guitar I had at the time. The guitar was gold plated. It was actually real gold plated on it, because I mean we were farmers back then too. So so it was a handcrafted Japanese Asturias. I think it was Asturias, handmade, and it had one of the most rarest timber on it. That was built from the rarest timber that was cured for 20 years before they actually built it, the guitar. So it was a fair dinkum, you know, full on, top of the line stuff. But geez, the thing used to sound good. I don't own the guitar anymore. I don't play the guitar anymore. I haven't strummed a string in years. But I used to play that much, but the ends of my fingers used to always bleed. In fact, the first time I met Tommy Emmanuel, he straight away, and I greeted him, and he saw me fingers. He said, "Oh yeah, you're a guitar player. I can tell straight away." It's all the colours on the end of the fingers. It used to shit like crap. Sometime when you played for so many hours, I used to practice hours per day to try to perfect it. And yeah, I was getting real good at it too. So I played at some of the clubs and restaurants and all that there for a little while, background music and that. So yeah, it was awesome, eh? Um, yeah. I'm kind of surprised they didn't offer a discount as well. So that's part of the reason why I haven't been doing. I didn't do it really. I didn't do a video as such just on that. I mean, not that that stops me. There's plenty of stuff I've bought and I've done videos on, and I'm more than happy to. But just the way they treat it, just the way they, on the phone, and just accusing me for just, ringing up, just getting a discount and not doing a video. Well, that kind of ended it for me. I wasn't happy with that. So, but it's a good battery for the price. I can't complain too much about the battery. But it's not good enough for my use. So I need something that's going to. I want to demand more out of the battery. So either I've got the DCS 200 amp hour, or I'm going to build my own system. High probability, unless DCS gives me a really big discount, I'm going to be building my own battery system one day, but I probably won't do it till after Christmas. There's no rush because what I'm going to use now, although summertimes can be probably going to be a big tester for it, where it's going to do what I want it to do in summertime, whether it'll handle the heat. So that's the big question. So yeah, what is the time? 10:04. Past my bedtime. Yeah, I usually fall asleep in front of the TV by now. I ordered Explorer canopy and tried 1600mm tray and canopy. It currently have an 1800mm bow. Feels too long and easy to overload. That's the thing. That's the thing with the canopies. Or you got too much room. You tend to store more stuff in there than what you need. Even to this day, I still bring too much stuff. It's amazing how much stuff you end up bringing that you don't end up using. It could be away for a week and you go through. I'm slowly dwindling down and getting better and better at it, but it's yeah, I want to try to bring as little as possible, so that way you don't have to search for stuff all the time. Yeah, I mean, if the guys had looked after me, I would have promoted the shit out of that 120X. I would have. I would have shown the specifications, what it's doing, what I'm cooking with it, and all that. But I just don't have the And after yesterday, when I saw it got up to 78 degrees Celsius, when I was only drawing 140 amps out of it after 15 or so minutes, where it should be able to handle continuously. And I'll tell you what, guys, it's not the battery leads. The battery leads I'm using, that thing are thicker than me thumb, and I've got thick thumbs. Mate, I did not spare any cost on the 12 volt leads on that thing. You should see how thick the cables are. You cannot even bend them, they're that thick. So I invested quite a bit of money when I built up this 240 volt system on the cables. I renewed most of it and I put thicker than what was required. So, and when I was drawing the 140 amps, even when the Multi Plus is drawing at maximum, or even when I was running through at 3800 watts and all that, I grabbed the cable, held on to the 12 volt cable, and it was cold. Didn't even heat up whatsoever. So guys, yep. Oh, this is fun. I'm going to do this again one day. Probably won't go as long as this. 3 hours. Wow. It's still got 9 people watching. Cool. Yeah, thanks for that. That's awesome, guys. So, I might call it a night, eh? I'm getting a bit dry. I'm going to go and drink at least 2 glasses of cold water and go watch a bit of telly. Probably fall asleep in front of the telly. And then get up at 2 in the morning and go to bed. Don't know, we'll see what happens, eh? And yeah, so thanks for tuning in, guys. So in less than 2 hours time you'll be able to nominate, and hopefully one of you guys will end up winning that awesome 200 watt solar panel. Like I said, I'm really impressed on the figures that these things are putting out. As you can see here from today's 19.7 amps is putting in. 2 hours 17 minutes it had my battery fully charged, and I think it was at 70% capacity, so it put in 30% capacity back into the battery in 2 hours 17 minutes. 1 hour 4 minutes on absorbent, but like I said, this is not really an absorbent charge in effect as what you will get with AGM. Absorbent mode on lithiums is a very good one. To these extra 14.6 volts is very good to keep the cells equalized, and that's why you use that charge mode. And of course, 3 hours after it was on float. Float is on 13.6, 13.5 thereabouts. So awesome bit of information on that. And of course this is like I showed you before. Loving this setup. So that's a new addition that I've got on here that I haven't showed in the schematics. There is also another one that last week I picked up a digital multi-control for the inverter slash AC charger multiplus here. So guys, these multipluses, guys, these are the bee's knees. This is the stuff, eh? This stuff is awesome. Same as the Egon DC hub, but I'm more impressed with the multipluses. Guys, geez, if you got the budget and you can afford one, mate, stick one of these in on a decent lithium setup. They're friggin' wonderful, eh? Okay, if there's no other questions, I'm gonna lock off now. So I'll give it a 30 seconds or so, because I believe there's about a 30-second delay here on what I say before you guys see it. So if there's nothing pops up, any other questions pop up in 30 seconds, then we might log off now and go have a break, go watch a bit of telly, catch up on some YouTube, see what I've been missing out on the last few hours, and drink. I'm thirsty, my mouth is dry, and yeah, and of course get your name in, get yourself a chance to win one of these awesome solar panels. I'm very impressed with the figures that these things push out for a 12 volt panel. Very impressive. So cool. No more questions. Alright guys, we'll call it a night, eh? So thanks for joining in, eh? I wasn't planning on going this long, but I had fun tonight. So till next time, eh? Cheers. See yous.